Big production.
Yo, so we're gonna go over the Ncbtrades crypto ETF real quick. So we got here something interesting on Glxy. Huge run right into earnings. Look what happened last time we ran into earnings, right? 115% trade right into earnings, and we had a nice period of consolidation, which matched with Bitcoin having a huge period of consolidation. Now when we look at this time around, right, from the bottom, we have a nice 100%, pretty much 100% run right into earnings. Now we're at a major zone in the chart, right? We've had a bunch of confluence in this area before, right? What do you think's about to happen next? In my opinion, we might stay under this zone for a little while. We might get some sort of a higher low in here, because if we look at this weekly chart, it's been 3 weeks right into this zone with very little pause days. So even on the daily 8 EMA, we're a little bit behind here. So the best case scenario that happens right now is we create, well, obviously the best case scenario is this: we keep ripping. But in my opinion, the best case scenario would be creating some sort of a bull flag in this range and creating a strong base here for the next few weeks, because that would tell us that there's strong demand in the stock. Because if this happens again where we pump and then we come all the way back down to this $14 range, it's gonna scare a lot of investors out of the way, which, hey, this stock loves to do that. But what I want to see happen is we create some sort of a higher low around this range. It could be anywhere between this $20 to $26 range. I posted this on my Twitter recently. So that is what I think could potentially happen, where maybe we weaken this zone a bit and then we get that push higher. So I'm going to be looking for something along the lines of like this in Glxy in the coming days and weeks. We also might get a huge response from earnings, which might push us even further upward to this range. I'd be looking around 33. If that does happen, then the pullback, I want to see us hold this $26 level. So there's a few different things that could happen here, but for the most part, that is what I'm thinking could potentially go down here in Glxy. These two scenarios: it's either we stall right now because we had a nice run into earnings, and then we create a higher low pattern and weaken this zone before we break up over it, or we'll be looking for a nice earnings report, bullish price action, and then we come back to retest this zone and make sure it is a demand zone. Either way, I'm happy with both. I'm a long-term holder in Glxy. But for anybody thinking short term, these are the two outcomes I want to see potentially happen in the stock. So we got Defi here. I just posted a little story on this one. Chart's looking interesting to me. So I bought a few shares recently, and it was around 154. So I want to see, is this a demand zone and we're just coiling and gathering shares, accumulating in this range before we get that breakout? To be honest with you, right now it doesn't look like it. It looks like we're rejecting this trend line once again. Increase in bear volume. We don't want to see that, right? So it's either we get that big push, we get a nice green candle in with a huge spike in bull volume, which would indicate that we are definitely going to lift up out of this range, or we continue lower. And if we are, I'd again be looking at this level here, which is around 117, potentially $1, because it's a round number. But overall, I'd be looking for this level right around this range. I'll use this squared. It might be a little bit easier. But this range right here is where I'd be looking for us to come back down to if we do reject this level, right? So again, we've got major touches on this trend line. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, right? 6 major touches. We need to see that breakout now, or we're for sure going to get out lower. HUT. Interesting shenanigans here on HUT. So when we watch this stock, right, we come up to this range, we reject it. Clean rejection off of this range. But I had a bunch of stuff here that I got to get out of the way. So again, major trend line, major trend line. We have beautiful reactions when we break the trend line. Now what we want to see is us hold this range. We want to hold that. So we create that higher low on the weekly time frame, right? Create that higher low, hold it, and then we make our ways higher. Hut is one of the miners, right? It's just like Glxy in a way. I think Galaxy's better. That's just my opinion. But overall, if we want to see this trend continue to the upside, we need to see higher highs and higher lows. So this level, $7, is what I'm looking for to be our higher low. It's looking pretty solid right now. We just need to weaken this 840 range, and then we're going up, it looks like. Hive. A lot of these names look similar. Huge zones we're coming back into, trying to fill gaps. We have this range that's holding us back. Clean resistance. So as we break up over this with volume, that's bullish for us. Again, a lot of these names, if you're long-term Bitcoin, it's likely going to work out for you if you're long-term some of these names. But keep in mind, find the miners that are solid. Glxy, Hut, Hive, right? Follow these ones because they're more likely to increase in price over time, where some of them, like we'll get into some of the other ones, maybe potentially like a Defi or a coin, the Canadian coin, the tokens.com. Those might not be the greater long-term plays. There's still opportunity there, but long-term, right? Mara, this trend line has been interesting. I like holding this trend line, and it's funny because we've had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 touches around here. It's major, but it does look like we're creating some sort of a bull flag pattern right now. So that is good for us bulls. But a lot of these names, again, right? Huge bounces off of the bottom, 55% trade off the bottom, but there's no weekly higher low yet. So don't be shocked if we do come down a little bit in some of these names, right? Right now, there might be a decoupling from seeing Bitcoin increase in price and then not seeing these crypto stocks increase. There might be some sort of a divergence where some of these stocks are on their own trends now. So be aware of that potential. Otherwise, Mara's got a clean bull flag. We want to see us break the bull flag to continue upward. Bitfarms. I like Bitfarms, man. I do. It looks nice. Nice coiling pattern. We could even tighten it down a little bit here and get this sort of triangle pattern starting to go down. Depends on how you want to play it, right? Anybody has their own biases, but over here is essentially a triangle pattern. So we like this. We like this. We want to break up over this upper trend line, though. That would help a lot. We break up over this trend line, use it as support, and we got a solid chart here with some solid opportunity to come back up into this range. We got a gap up here that we might want to fill in the future. So keep that in mind. Right around this range here, there is a gap. So we might want to come back into that range. That's still a pretty nice trade to come back in there. 38%, not bad. So there's some opportunity in the name. Just keep an eye on it. Bitfarms is a solid one. Whew. SI, come on. So again, this is what we like to see in a lot of these names, right? Clean patterns. Why is this a clean pattern? Well, it's a clean pattern because one, there was a gap to be filled. We came up, filled the gap, but we're also creating higher lows into this resistance, weakening this resistance, and then we get the breakout and follow through. So again, geez, you love to see it. This one, we haven't touched this stock in a while, and it looks like it's following exactly what's going down here, which you love to see. So we're looking up here now, 173. We're looking, is that going to be our resistance for a little bit? We've been there multiple times in the past. So I wouldn't be surprised if this area is acting as a magnet. We stall for a bit, before we go up any higher. We do, again, keep in mind, weekly higher lows, right? We just fly up here. We're going to want to see some sort of a higher low come in, where we come in like this, higher low, and then we continue the trend. In my opinion, that could happen in a lot of these names. Don't be shocked if you see, right? Because they're volatile, man. That's a 15-20% pullback right there. So just keep that in mind for sure. So this is Coinbase. Nice clean breakout. Again, this level above is acting as a magnet. This one's probably a lot better for options in my opinion, just because it's a little bit slower of a mover. But either way, still crazy opportunity. We had the falling, or this downward trend line, creating a small falling wedge at the bottom range here. Looks clean to me. Again, look for that higher low, weaken that zone, and then for the trend to continue, we'll also need to see Bitcoin. Bitcoin needs to increase for sure. For sure. So when we're looking at Wndr here, interesting. Clean resistance now. It's all marked out. So this is the zone we got to beat, 150 to 155. We got to beat that zone. We don't want to see this bull volume increase any further, and we must hold this range. Must hold. We must hold 120 in order for us to continue this weekly uptrend. Right? We don't want to come back down here, break that level. We want to hold this so it's a higher low from the bottom. Right? High, or sorry, we start here. It's a low, high, higher low. That's where we go, higher high, and then continue upward. So it might take some time for this zone to get beat, but overall, if we can hold this range, I think it'll be looking pretty solid in my opinion. So we got tokens.com here. Huge falling wedge. Huge falling wedge. So we'll be looking for the breakout, and when it's going to come, we don't know. But I'm watching this trend line. If we get an increase in bull volume and a break of that trend line, it might look good. We have a massive increase in price. Massive increase. 591%. More than that. Like 734% or something like that. So it's going to take some time, man. Since November 2021, we need a long period of consolidation before we get that rise right back into this range. I do think we can. It's possible for sure, especially if crypto goes crazy, like Bitcoin, Ethereum. If Dogecoin starts going crazy, you know coins like this or stocks like this are going to go crazy too. So pay attention to it. Don't take it off the watch list just because it's like a shittier name out of all the other ones I've been going through. But the opportunity is still here, especially in the short term. So keep an eye. I'm looking for this upper trend line to break. We also want to tackle that 164 range. But keep in mind, this is how stocks move. Huge move, right? This could be life-changing for some people. You throw 10 grand in here, and it turns into 70, 80 grand. So this is a huge play. It needs time. It needs time. So don't be shocked that you see this coming down. In my opinion, it looks pretty healthy from a technical perspective. It might even come back down to these levels, 50 cents. If you can gather around there, the risk to reward opportunity is also very, very nice. So, I mean, things are looking nice on this name. As long as we don't completely fall apart, I think there's some opportunity here. This looks pretty normal to me. Anyways, pretty sure that's the last one here. Yeah, that's the breakdown. Peace.